everyone. Welcome back to another live session with me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, hosted by Spineless Academy. And today I'm really excited to bring forward another panel of experts sharing about a trending topic. I think during this period of time, a lot of people start venturing into multiple incomes, having business at home, or starting your own business. It is quite common for you to consider your spouse or your long term partner or your boyfriend or girlfriend to be part of your business venture. You want to do something together and you want to build something together. So, in today's conversation, we're going to talk about how it really is like the reality of working with your spouse and whether it is for you or not. So, that's for you to determine yourself whether you do really want to work with your spouse. But before that, we're going to identify all the possible problems, the emotion issues, the turbulences and obstacles when it comes to working somebody you have a personal relationship with. Now, before we get started, I do want to talk about Spineless Academy, by which I'm the CEO of. And let me just share my screen about my platform shortly. And for those of you who join us, please leave a comment. Tell us where you're from. How is it? Tell us a bit of experiences if you're working with your spouse at the moment. I really want to hear more of your story too. So on my screen is Spineless Academy platform. So this is actually an educational platform that connects global experts with avid learners all over the world. So wherever you are and you feel like, well, I want to learn something new today, then you want to connect on any of the webinars that is present there and obviously learn and ask questions. The good thing is it's happening in real time as real experts shares real experiences. So you get more than just, knowledge or insights that you can read from other sources. You actually get to tap on somebody's experiences. They've been there, they've done that, ask them questions. What were the lessons? What were the mistakes? How to put in context of any strategy for any business. So whether it's personal or professional development, Spineless Academy has a wide range of webinars that you can consider to attend absolutely free. Now, all the webinars are about 1 hour long, and you don't even have to turn on your camera or your microphone. You can basically tune in from anywhere you are, on a bus, waiting for a train, probably on a couch at home. So you don't have any pressure about being, visually present. But you can interact with them wherever they are. So here are just some of the topics that's coming up, from long-term brain health, how to unleash your full potential by healing inner child scars, why personal branding is the best investment idea in 2021, how to be a mystery shopper. So there's a lot of interesting webinars that you might be interested. Now we're coming to the end of March, so just wait a couple more days as excited where you can come and connect on my platform. And trust me, knowledge sharing, experience sharing is one of the best learning ways, in order for us to develop our wisdom as well as our knowledge. So without further ado, I'm going to kick off our panel discussion, and I want to say hi very quickly to those people who commented. Hi from Batam, Indonesia. Hi, Iza. Thank you for joining us on Facebook. Are you considering to work with your husband? Then this is definitely a panel discussion for you. Hi, Sari. Thank you so much to be part of Academy and joining my panel discussion. We run 7 discussions, this month, panel discussion. So next month, we are going to bring another 8 panel discussions with women founders. So make sure that you're tuning in April as well. Every Monday and Wednesday, we are going to interview female founders and coaches. Say thank you. Hi, Norish. Thank you for joining from Singapore, from Indonesia, from the US. Amazing. Thank you for joining despite the time difference. So if you are ready, we are going to bring everyone up and we're going to ask them some grueling questions. And feel free to share your experience as well in the chat. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Okay,
everyone.
so we're really excited because a lot of people are tuning in all across Facebook and LinkedIn. Usually Facebook don't have that much engagement compared to LinkedIn, but I think this topic is really resonating with everybody. So people are flocking out on Facebook and LinkedIn from Indonesia, from US, from Singapore, from Malaysia. So we're going to get started by first introducing ourselves. So let's start with Tulika. So if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Hi, my name
Hi, everyone.
is
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Tulika, can you? Yes.
Okay,
Alright.
It's so rhyming, Tulika and Mulika. Even I got confused if it's me or Mulika. Anyways, this is Tulika Samuel. I'm the co-founder of Edoxa. It's an educational consultancy, and it is run by, of course, me and my partner, who is my husband. And so, when I saw this topic, I was like, it resonates so much to me, and there are so many experiences, adventure stories that we go through that will help the audience and the people joining in to kind of, understand. And so I started working as a teacher. Then I moved on to various admin roles as principal. And after gaining some experience in the US, eventually we came back to India to start our own consultancy, where I am working as co-founder and my husband is the founder. And so that's about what I do. But other than this, I am also raising two kids, 10-year-old and 3-year-old, and I'm also working with my spouse.
Thank you so much, Tulika. Tulika is joining us all the way from India, and we have Mulika from Singapore. So, Mulika, can you tell us a bit more of yourself and what you do?
Hi, my name is Magnetic Mulika. I'm actually a clarity coach since last year. Before that, I was a digital marketer. So I was focusing more on the advertising, social media, advertising paid online, helping Singapore or all over the Asia countries to help to market on this more focus on the lead generations. And that was 9 years ago. So now I'm actually more like a clarity coach. And my husband is the founder of the company, and we have been working for 9 years.
That's amazing. Okay, so this is really interesting. Okay, so far we know that two people are married. Okay, and Tulika has children. So we know that I'm married and I also have children, and I also work with my husband. So we all have stories to tell. Now let's get to Wandelin. Wandelin is based in Dubai, the UAE. So Wandelin, tell us more about what you do and be yourself.
So I'm Wanda. I wear many hats. I'm a wife, a mother of two, and the founder also of Working Moms Academy. And I was counting the ways I work with my husband. I started working with him 21 years ago because we were office mates. That's where I met, and I've continuously worked with him throughout my life. And when I started Working Moms Academy last year, it was really him who said, "Okay, go for it," and he's supporting me. So, it working with spouse means many things, and I think I'm very excited about these topics. That's for me.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's a very different bond, okay? When your husband is your coworker, okay, or the vice versa, your wife is a coworker, because it comes with more than just professional relationship, right? So there is emotional relationship, and the fact that you go, oh my God, I'm gonna see this guy at home over the weekends, Monday to Sunday. So there's something else you need to weigh out when you wanna outburst or get angry or frustrated. There's other things to weigh upon. So let's talk about your husbands, okay? So the next question is about your husbands. So we'll start with Tulika first. If you can be brutally honest, okay, very honest, what three words best describe your husband?
To be brutally honest, I was trying to find out something negative, like a negative adjective, but I was really finding it difficult because he can find some on me, but I could not find. To be honest, he's really, highly supportive. Like he's really very supportive. Being, an Indian wife, there's so many customs and traditions, so he's very, on top of it. That he gives me my space, freedom. He's very patient. Opposed to me, I'm really impatient. So that works out, like complementing each other. So he's very patient, and most importantly, he's very trustworthy. Like I can rely on him. I can, lean on him for any support. So I can trust him like blindfoldedly.
So how long have you been married, and how many years of that marriage is involved in work partnership?
So we have been married for 10 years. And honestly, we have worked together for 12 because that's where in the workplace I met him, where we were working together for 2 years and then we got married. So we worked for 12. We have been working for 12 years and 10 years of marriage. Yeah.
Well, amazing. So two of the stories from our experts today coming from your co-office worker, right? So you were
Yeah.
once in the same office together. Okay, I already work with this guy anyway, so I'm gonna marry him and continue to work with him. So, Tulika, how about yourself? How long you been married? And be brutally honest. What three words best describe your husband?
Okay, the three words that I can describe about my husband, he is very task oriented, and he's very good at looking at the what is the loopholes that is I cannot see. So he can see the right in front of him, which I cannot see, which that is actually compliment me because I'm actually can't see 3 steps ahead. I can only see 1 step ahead, but he can see 10 steps ahead. And then other than that, he is capable. He is also very reliable person. So then he actually can, even if it's at midnight, if he has to work, he has to work. So he's that kind of reliable, and I can really like depend on him. What are the missing steps? He's very detailed, which I am not. So that is also complementary for me. That is working with him. Yeah, that's the
Thank
three
you
things
so
that I
much.
can describe.
Yes, I realize sometimes, right, it's best to work with somebody who's actually opposite of us because if we're messy, someone's got to be organized, okay? If we are
Yeah.
emotional, someone's got to be practical because if two people are emotional, that's the problem. So in this case, differences is better than actually common
Yes,
ground.
correct, correct.
So going to you, Wandeline, how long have you been married? And I think you mentioned earlier that you say 10 years. How long have you been married? And how, if you can be brutally honest, describe your husband.
Okay, I've been married for 12 years, but I've been working with my husband for 21 years now. So, to be brutally
Oh,
honest, the good thing, he's very generous. So, he will always buy me my gadgets and everything. I think when I look at my stuff, majority of them are gifts from him only, from cell phone to laptop to bags and all. But second, he's very critical. So, he's very judgmental. So, and also very honest, so which scares me a lot. He barely speaks, but when he gives his comments, then I have to make sure I listen, because those are nuggets of wisdom which can either hurt me, of course, but can also propel me. So those are three words I say: he's generous, he's critical, and he's very honest. So those are the three words to describe my husband.
perfect. I think the fact that you know your husband for that long, I think you guys know each other very well. And I think that's an advantage. Okay. You know each other flaws, you know each other weakness, and you know each other's strengths. So for me as well, I think, okay, my husband's not good in something. That's when I know I have to catch him. In this situation, I have to catch him. And something that I'm not good at, I think that was when he holds me back because he was like, I think you cannot handle this. And they're brutally honest, and that's why I always think your spouses and your siblings are the only people who can be rude to you and get away with it. Okay, so they can be
True.
really harsh and they get away with it. So your other people, don't really get away with it. So that's why your siblings and your spouses are the best person to give you criticism in the worst manner possible, so that you can change, obviously. So
True,
going to
true.
the next question, everyone who's joining in, feel free to share your experiences. Tell us something about your relationship with your husband at work, or share with us your troubles and struggles because we're going to ask the experts later on. So now we are coming into the transition when you first had the idea, okay? So you thought, okay, maybe I could do my business with this guy. So what were your thoughts, okay, and who thought of this idea first? Was it you or your husband who thought, hey, maybe we should do business together? And has it ever occurred to you halfway, oh my God, this is a bad idea? Or some point you have some short period of regret, okay? Just short period of regret. You're gonna, this is the worst decision ever, my husband as a co-founder, but then you snap out of it. It doesn't matter. Okay, so we want to know that I'm sure it's not always smooth sailing in terms of your thoughts. Okay, so do you feel that it was the right decision from the beginning? Who thought about it, or you think halfway you had some small regrets, but you come back from it? So Tulika, let's start from you.
So to be honest, it was my husband's idea when we were in US, and after being there for 5 years, we decided to come back. And honestly, I was thinking of switching back to a principal's role. And we were sitting in the patio, and he was like, how about after this many years of experience, and both in the same field, we start something together. And my first expression was like, no, because I'm like, we are two different person. To be honest, like I'm East, he's West. So even though we were complementing each other, but we never realized that in reality. We never, look at that perspective that, if I'm good at organizing, I'm doing it, and he's good at maybe negotiating or another other things that he's doing, but we never realize each other's potential, and not realizing that his weakness is my strength, or my weakness is his strength. So my first thought was like, no, I don't think we should even dare to do this. But then eventually, we don't want to be stuck in job forever, and we thought it's going to be a good time to start. If doesn't work, then we always have option to go back to the job. So we came back and we started working together. Definitely there were a lot of ups and downs. I mean, less ups, more downs, because we think differently. I need everything to be, planned, like everything on paper. We are doing this, like, and this way. And he's more like, person who's like, oh, this idea, let's do it. Like, he's more about like, don't think too much, let's do it, give it a try. So it was really difficult, but eventually I think that, as I said, we complement, couples complement each other. So that kind of helped us to eventually look at that perspective, like, okay, I'm good at, planning, so maybe I do the planning part. You are good at bringing the deals or negotiating or bringing the clients, so you do that part, instead of I do everything and he also do everything. So eventually I didn't feel that it was a bad idea, and honestly I'm enjoying working. And it's nothing like he's the founder, I'm the co-founder. We are kind of partners, and that's the advantage, when you work with your husband or with your wife. You're not working against each other, you look at each other working towards a common goal. So that kind of helped us to look at it at a different perspective, and we ended up believing that it's a good idea to work with your spouse, definitely.
So what I hear is that sometimes when you get mixed up in a business together, it takes you some time before you realize what the other person is good at. So you don't overlap on your decision. You stay within your lane of strength. I stay within my lane of strength, and you realize that it starts to get easier. So it's a workable area. You don't just enter a business and maybe expect it to work from the beginning, but you have to be open that if you explore ways on how to do it better, you can get there, and then you will not regret
Yes,
it being part of it. So thank you for sharing
definitely.
that. Mulika, how about you? Who thought about this idea first of working together? And halfway through, have you had any negative thoughts thinking that this is probably your biggest regret?
Sure. Okay, basically, when we met, we actually met at the seminar where we learned how to generate leads, or lead generation seminar. So after we graduated from that seminar, both of us discussed that we should open a business together. At that time, we haven't married yet. So after we married, we started this business as a lead generation business. And then of course along the way there's a lot of miscommunication and also friction. I thought this was a bad idea to work together with my husband, because it gives me a lot of pressure and stress at the same time, because he's a very task oriented and I'm the one that is very laid back, and I'm very relaxed and very carefree. So when I'm carefree and meet with someone who is task oriented, I feel that why he is not care about my emotions. But when after he explained, it's nothing personal, it's about actually work. And then I was like having a difficult time to separate between personal and work life. And because I was emotional at that time, and I feel like I don't feel like working together. And even I asked him that I want to opt out, I want to resign, and I want to do something else. So I did something else, but in the end, it doesn't work. I back to the business again as an online generation. So the journey is quite interesting. As if when you are in it, you feel that you want to get out, but when you are out, you want to come in again, because you don't have that flexibility, time flexibility, and also the income. When two-person are joining together, the income is like a exponentially rise. I mean, high compared to each of us work individually. That's my thought.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really nice. That's an interesting journey because you did quit. You were like, bye bye, sayonara. Okay, and then you you try to do something your own, and you go like, okay, actually, it was better when my husband was around. He was a pain, but it is still better when he was around. The income was better. I got somebody to catch my back, and it's good that he's task oriented because clearly I'm not. That's why I'm probably not making as much as he does. So that's amazing realization, and it takes ego removed. You cannot be too egoistic because you have to sometimes acknowledge that hey, he's right. Okay, he's better. Okay, I gotta give this credit to him. He's better. Okay, so and you embrace it and you come back and you try to make it work the second time. So which is amazing. So wondering about yourself. So when you first thought about including your husband in your own business, okay, not in a workspace, in your own business, and have you ever thought this is a terrible idea?
See, initially when we started something, it was a joint decision. So we were like, why don't we started with the, say, real estate property investments. So we had a decision like, why don't we put to set aside a certain amount of money to buy properties so we can at least, in the future have something. So start owning. And, initially, finding, agreeing into something was difficult. But I think it's always about a negotiation of what you both agree into. So that was working well. So we were able to acquire properties and then have it rented. And then when I started my business so that is 12 years ago, and we started our real estate business. And then also in 2018, when I said I want to have my own training and consultancy company. So see, my husband is always like the consult. I'll say he's always the boss. So I will always plot my plan and say, this is what I wanted to do, blah blah blah, and say, what do you think? Then he will always give his ideas of how things could be done. Similar with Working Moms Academy, when I told him I want to start a school to help working moms, become stress free and happy, because I know it's very difficult, especially now. So initially, it's like, yeah, the idea is good. So I will have a lot of plans. Then he will always, I always have to. It's the one who always gathers my thoughts because I'm scattered. So I tend to do have a lot of plans, but he will always have a big picture of things of, okay, focus on this first and then move forward. So before I do anything, that's how it works now. I always tell him, these are my plans. What do you think? So it's sometimes he will also say, why don't you do this? So it's always a discussion between us now of what needs to be done, what should I do next. So that is working well for me because he always, as you know, as you all said, our spouses complement our own weaknesses. Our weaknesses is their strength, and their strength is our weakness. So I think, it's really a partnership that is meant to work. And it's about, actually, I mostly catch him when he is, at home. Or I just tell him, let's go for coffee. But then I will ask a lot of questions, bring a lot of my business plans, which always works. I mean, I think it's the best partnership there is, I'll say.
Yeah, definitely. I feel that even if for those of you out there, if you don't have for example, a partner that's directly involved in your business, having someone to bounce ideas with at the end of the day, it's amazing. It's like your confidante, and whatever you pitch to them, they're not going to take this and go to a VC without you. So they're going to keep it as a secret, and you can really be open and honest to them. So they don't really have to participate, let's say, doing your business work or accounting, but just their presence itself is different because you can't call a secretary or somebody at office to bounce ideas outside office hours. But your husband, like Wandalin said, you catch him when you ask him out for dinner, whatever. You catch him whenever you can catch him, and you just throw these questions at him, and you make him think on the spot, dig whatever information out of him. And that's why just having someone there, I think, really help in women to expedite their business. Okay, just knowing that, okay, I've got a pillar of strength behind me. So solo womanpreneurs will still do well for sure, but I think married women would also do just as well with some partnership. So the next question, I want to go deeper into a challenge. So you're gonna share with me, right? One challenge, okay, that it could be a challenge where you were throwing things or scolding your husband. We really want to go deeper, okay? So share one challenge of working with your spouse. If you think of specific scenario that happened, including your emotions about it, your thoughts about it at that time, and how did you eventually overcome it? So, Tulika, let's start with you.
So, to pick only one challenge, I would pick the balance between personal and professional life, because that is something I feel like even though we try to overcome, but at some point, as you said, you have a partner, you can bounce your ideas anytime. So somewhere we bring the professional life to personal life and take personal life to professional life. So it all started when we were working together. When we were just husband and wife, we discuss personal work at office, or professional work, we continue the discussion at home. This happened, the conversation could be have this, or the communication breakdown you discuss at home, like you what I meant to discuss there, you didn't get my point, because you feel like your partner knows everything, like your partner so well that in professional front, when there is a disagreement, you are hesitant to kind of share it, because you're not sure how your partner is going to take you, because to your partner, you know him very well. So there was a lot of juggling, and when after my son was born, we realized that we need to stop this. We need to have a set boundaries to keep our professional life and personal life, away. And so we decided, we set on how to overcome. And so we came up with not to discuss the professional challenges or professionally what we are doing at home. And anytime and one of the partner is talking about some professional work at home, we may use some words or keywords that kind of bring us back to home. So maybe like, it's about us. So this is home, or right now we are a family, or we are husband and wife. We are no more, co-workers. So kind of using some keywords that doesn't make other person feel like she's stopping me or he's stopping me to, talk about something that I really want to talk, but at the same time respecting the time, the personal time. Because after having a kid, it was really a big challenge. I felt personally that my son was affected because he was listening only the conversation about schools, because our background is school. This happened, that happened. And as he started growing up, he was, again, my son was part of our work because he was going to the same school that we were working. So it was like we could not anymore discuss about the meetings that were happening, or if a colleague is not working to the expectation. Because we have a little one, you never know, he may just go and blurt out to the teacher, oh, my mom was saying this about you. So we really had a point where my son's teacher shared that your son was talking about such and such things. And I was like, that was something about a staff member, and I felt so embarrassed about it because my son is so small. He was a kindergartner at that moment. And so that was kind of an eye-opener that we need to set boundaries. We made certain rules, strict rules for us, having some real-time consequences. And that really helped us to avoid this imbalance between personal and professional life. And I think that's going well. But again, there are times when there is some idea or some quick thought, and you just want to share it before you forget it. So we also started journaling. So if you have something that you want to share and you could not hold it, just write it in your journal. Somebody can read it, or you remember it the next day when you are in the office. So that's how the challenge we overcome.
So thank you, Tulika, for sharing that. I like that you highlight imbalance, especially when you start to have a family, for example, right? And sometimes I ask myself, how can it be that 90% of the conversation I have with my husband is about my job, my career, and my work? Because we're not just colleagues, we're more than that. We're family, right? We're supposed to talk about things that make us happy, what food we like to eat, well, what places we want to go, where we want to take our children. And sometimes you get so obsessed with that partnership that you thought, okay, I don't have to talk about family. And that's what actually, affect you later on, as well as your children, because they think, okay, our parents are just workaholics. So they talk about work all the time. Over the meal, over dinner, they talk about work all the time, not meeting numbers and clients. And I think it's not healthy for a marriage. And that's what we definitely need to keep at the back of our mind to keep it balanced. Because one day the business might be gone, but the family still is there. So your husband's still there as your husband, even though he's not your co-founder. So you want to go back and say, hey, I also got good memories with my husband as himself and not as my co-founder. So thank you for sharing that. How about you, Mulika? One challenge, you can remember a scenario that you remember and how you overcame it.
Okay, the one challenge that I have constantly those past 9 years, right, actually is communications. Because of the different style of communication, because my husband is auditory, so he needs to listen exact words before he can understand. And I am the kinesthetic. I can guess the next sentence that he's going to say. So I expect him to speak the way I speak, but he expects me to speak the way he speaks. So there is a lot of actually gaps between us. And also because I'm Indonesian, so my English compared to him is actually not as good as, so that's why certain things I couldn't say accurately in my message. I couldn't convey the message accurately. So I would describe as a body language, and he couldn't understand because he couldn't hear it. He need to hear it. So how I overcome it is we have an agreement that when we want to discuss about work or a serious topic, we want to use paper, write down what is it that I need to say, so that I can say it correctly, and he can ask question or clarify instead of he misunderstand me. And when I feel that being misunderstood, and I get very frustrated, and I get very agitated, and I get angry. And that is the part that is to me is very, very challenging for me to communicate with him. So how I overcome is by writing down is what I want to say, and then he questioned by writing down what he has to say. Then this way we actually overcome our communication issue, and that's how we overcome the challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. I like because I think communication is key, especially you're dealing a lot with the person. And I'm very happy that you both actually identify your way of communicating and realize, okay, I can't make you think like me and say like me, and I can't be like you. So we got to figure something out in between. And because people need to acknowledge that people communicate differently. It sounds like, some people don't know that, Mulika, some people don't know that people communicate differently. People think, oh no, I speak English, he speaks English. So we talk the same. But actually, it's not the same. And people receiving information also receive differently, right? You say
Correct.
A, but in their head it's like C or something because it's so I'm just saying, my husband sometimes I don't get him, not because he doesn't speak English, but because I just don't get him. So, but you're right. I think communication is the key, and once you overcome that, it's worth it because you can get more things solved and more things done together, and you won't hate each other or resent each other. And actually, it's sad to think that you hate your husband because of something you both don't understand. That's really,
Yeah,
it's okay to hate them for the day because there's something you really understand and you don't like. But if you don't understand each other, that's not a good reason to not like the other person. But thank you for
true.
sharing that. Now,
You're
Wandeline,
welcome.
about you, think of any scenario that you have one challenge with your spouse working with him, and how did you overcome it?
See, my challenge is about my continuous reinvention. You see, we are both accountant by profession. So when I told him in 2016 that, I wanted to become a housewife, he cannot understand that, okay, now you want to leave everything behind and just be a housewife. And then when I also told him, I want to be a trainer and a speaker. So it's for him, it's like, is it gonna work? Because I think also when I started this journey of training and coaching, I wasn't sharing with him the results that people are getting after they work with me. So he cannot understand, first accountant, then I became a manager, and then I want to be a trainer and speaker. And at the beginning, he cannot understand why do you have to shift when you are okay here. But when he saw, I have to continuously explain. And I think as he see me being very happy with training and coaching, then he started supporting me. I think more than what I tell him, it's also about how he sees me. So he can see that I have so much energy after training coach because this is something that I really love to do. So I always tell him, yeah, we might be both accountants, but I'm not accountant by heart. But my love is really for training and coaching. And I really told him, I see myself doing training and coaching until my old age. So let me do it now. Because and then when he appreciated, when he saw how I've changed, when he saw how my training changed me positively as well as my children, then he started to become quiet and started to be supportive. So that's why when I said I want to start now my own training and consultancy, he was 100% there already because he finally understood what it means to me and what it means to the children and how it can help me and help others too. So initially, it's also communication, right? It's communicating what you want, why you want it, where you will go. Because sometimes we women, we want so many things. And that is where my husband's like, why do you want so many things? So sometimes that gets him really scared, being a big dreamer like me. But I think when you are clear and it's communicated to your partner, then he can 100% be there for you. When I started to be more open about my plans, what I wanted to happen, then he was more supportive than ever because I was more clear and I was more vocal about what I needed from him.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think transparency is very important, and you're right. Probably, actually, the husband does want to support every time you reinvent yourself or rediscover or plunge into new ventures. But they need the whole picture to truly understand that if this means a lot to you naturally and they love you, this will also mean a lot to me. And that's how the relation is, right? Sometimes I think about their interests, okay, and I know that okay, this is what my husband really loves to do. how can I not be the person who support it? I don't. It doesn't make sense to me. Sometimes what he likes to do, it doesn't make sense to me. I wouldn't do something like this. Who does this? Okay, but at the end of the day, because it's somebody you love and care for, and you got the real picture, and you see the passion in that person, you see that person happiness coming out of it. You go like, okay, maybe he knows what he's doing. I have to trust in this, and I'm gonna back him up 100% because I want him to support me next time. Hearing all your story with your challenges, right? I must say that it's nothing compared to my war with my husband. I think I fired him 10 times. He's still here working for me. It doesn't work. Okay, but sometimes I get a little bit emotional. So later we're going to talk about emotion as well because undeniably women are emotional creatures. Husbands, when they get upset, they just walk away. All right, bye. I do something else. But women, we have a little bit showcase of temper. But we're going to touch that one deeper. For now, let's go from negative to positive. So I want you to share something that your husband has done for you or your business that makes a difference. So maybe it could be either something he done that changed your revenue. It could be something that he initiated that contribute a lot of benefits or relationship or leads for you. What is it that he has done? Maybe he looks after your accounting to make sure you stay profitable. What are the benefits from working from a spouse? Or he teach you lessons that you never know and you get a tap on his expertise. So Tulika, let's start with you.
So, as I said, my weakness is my husband's strength, and most of the couples, as we have been talking, we complement each other. So one of my weaknesses, I don't start or initiate the conversation. If I see a probable lead or client, I'm little hesitant of approaching, because I feel like what the other person is going to think, and what if the other person is not feels offended, or he feels like it's too quick to approach for any business proposal. But on the contrary, my husband is more about, there is no harm asking. Either it's going to be a yes or no. There's nothing beyond that. So I kind of like that attitude that, it's either going to be yes or no. So there's no harm trying or approaching or trying to, get the client. And so I think that's something that has helped us in our business, because I'm still learning to adopt this attitude, but he's pretty good at it, asking for suggestions. I'm open to feedback, but I'm little hesitant of asking suggestions, because I feel like I'm not sure if other person is judgmental, or how he or she will look at me being a co-founder if I ask for any advices, because there are so many different variety of people. And so that's something my husband has, a positive quality, I must say. And it also helps us to, develop a deeper level of understanding, because now that we know he's good at this, maybe, he keeps on working on that area, and I work on my strength, which is like planning, organizing, delivering, operational, and all. So this is something that has helped progressing our business as well, because we have never been in business. After returning from US, we started this business where we have to approach to schools to hire our consultancy company for various services. And so in the beginning, it was like, it feels like I'm begging for work. It's better I go back to job where I don't have to worry. I'm still a leader in a principal role. I do my job, and I can still train the teachers that are in that school. But then I feel like this quality of my husband helped me to look at a different way, from a different scenario, and work towards a shared vision. So that's something that really benefited our consultancy.
Thank you
Lisa, are
so
you
much for
there?
sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you guys able to? Yeah. Okay. So basically, I feel that for men, right, they take rejection better and they handle difficult conversation better because they go like, okay, he said no, whatever, But women is like, oh no, he said no. That means he thinks badly about me. I don't want to talk to the next person, for the next 1 month. But men is like,
So
okay,
true.
he said no, he go yes. So that's really good because he makes the initiative to, approach, and you can do follow up when it's a confirmed sale or a warm lead. So that's really good because you need that kind of person who understand your weakness and not judge you as a founder or co-founder, and actually, okay, I'll do this part. So I like that you're sharing. And how about you, Mulika? What are some benefit or one particular thing that your husband has done for you that progress your business?
It will be the planning of the business, because I'm not good at that. And also the second thing, he always wants to simplify the process. It's like things can be automated, he will automate. He doesn't want me to do like manually. Like for example, sending WhatsApp one to one, he doesn't like it. So he will find ways. and find means to actually automate the process so that I don't have to focus on the iniquity, so that I can speak to more people, because my strength is more like a speaking to people, and his strength is like creating automations with the process. So then this way is really benefit and also can help to progress in our business as well.
Oh, that's really good. So your strength is you can get relationship. You can get talking with people. But of course, you take a long time to do that because you do it manually, you did it individually, and your husband go like, "Why is it that my wife is working 20 hours to talk to 20 people? Don't make sense at all." And he goes like, "Let me simplify it for you. I'll do automation because that's not your skill, that's mine. So I'm going to make your job easier for you." So that's exactly what your husband does. He
All
makes
right.
your job easier so you can have more relationship to talk to and make more money. And so your
Yep.
husband actually escalate you to that level of making things easy. And you probably
Yes.
go like, okay, thank God somebody helped me because otherwise, I would still be doing like this the next 2 years because I don't know any other way. I got no time to explore any other way. So that's the
Yes.
thing with women. We're also not good with automation, technical apps. Sometimes I want to think about apps I can use, but we got no time to research, especially like you and I, we're talking to people every day for work. We got no time to spend 5 hours Google, YouTube. What project management tool should we use? So that's why he helps you doing that. That's an
Yep.
excellent synergy. Thank you for sharing that. And wondering about you, share a benefit of working with your spouse and how does that progress your business?
For me, it's about being grounded. Because, I am a planner, I'm an action taker. I do a lot, I'm a multitasker also. But, my husband is the one who's always like, okay, let us step back, reflect, and focus. So he always pulls me into, okay, just breathe in and then focus on what you need to do. So at least, it keeps me, I'll say, in one piece. And it keeps me organized also that way because he always remind me that you can do many things and that's good. But also you have to take care of yourself and make sure you focus on the right things. So that way, I'm always that's why when I need to gather my thoughts, I always come to him first because that way I know I will be focused and not all over around the place. So keeping me grounded really is something because men have that global picture, right? I mean, we women are into details, but my husband has that gift of really being, seeing things from a global and big perspective. That really helps me a lot.
Thank you so much. I think that also like resonate with all of us right here. Actually, our husbands keep us grounded because he reminds us of the roots of where we were before. We were nobody when we married them. So 10 years down the line, we could be successful, we could be rich, we could be doing well. But it's our husband who know us from the very beginning, in and out, and was there for us. So it always reminds me back that hey, I should never think that I'm way over my husband league or I could tell him what to do or command him around because actually I am where I am because he put me here.
Mm,
So he put me there. So that's why keeping us grounded is really important because sometimes when you become successful, you can really sway to become a different person. Your character is tested. That's one thing for sure. And you want to come back to a home where people don't judge you whether you have anything or nothing at all. It's your husband, basically. I take you as you are. So that's really helping us, stay grounded and build our character for our children. So let's go into emotions right now because I want to hear some frustration. I do not believe if any of you have never felt angry enough to bang a door, throw things, I don't know, scold names, whatever it is. Okay, I'm pretty sure there's some point that your husband are really at your neck, okay, driving you up the wall. Whether it's for good reason or not doesn't matter. Women don't need a reason to be angry. I'm just saying, women are just sometimes building up. So during this time where you have immense frustration, you're angry at that time, you feel like I would really kill my husband at this time. Okay, so how do you, and sometimes disappointment, not say angry, it's also disappointment. You expect your husband to do something for whatever reason, okay, practical or not, it couldn't happen. So how do you deal with emotions of being disappointed, frustrated, dealing with someone you also have to live with? So you know that if you're angry with your colleague, you go home and you're like, okay, I don't see my colleague until tomorrow, I guess I'll be fine. But now I still have to see this person throughout my dinner table, and I'm trying not to be angry while serving him his food. So Tulika, let's start with you. How do you deal with emotions?
So I'll be honest. In the beginning, I used to throw tantrums, because I have been a spoiled daughter. So from the beginning I have been like, oh, whatever I do I'm allowed to do, or nobody objects me at all. So in the beginning I did not know how to handle my emotions. I would just throw tantrum, I'll be angry, I'll just stop talking, or I'll just yell at him. But eventually I realized that when you have to, as you said, live with them, so it's really essential that you come up with something that doesn't affect you, because when I'm doing that, it's affecting me. It's not affecting my husband. It's not affecting anyone around. So I'm being affected, emotionally as well as mentally. So I found out a way that I started, when I'm feeling angry, I would not throw that out right away. I will take some moment to focus on my anxiety so that I don't react. Maybe, because sometimes when we react, we don't know if it's your partner the reason, or if it's something that you were not able to fulfill. Maybe you wanted to go for a gym, you could not, and you start the blame game. So, I started sharing my feelings. When I'm calmed down, I would sit with my husband, I will let him know how I felt, why I felt, and then having that tough conversation, because sometimes I feel with the male guys, they don't realize until you share your feelings, because as women are more emotional, right? So unless you share, this is how I felt, there were moments when he was surprised, because he was like, I didn't even know that you were upset, because I was pretending to be normal, even though I was so upset from inside. So they are not good at, judging the emotions. So when I started sharing my emotions, how I felt, or how something or some act of his upset me, it was an eye opener for him. But at the same time, it really helped me with, fighting or deal with this disappointments and frustration. And so that really helps. So I feel, start sharing your feelings with your partner, because, and I always tell my husband, sometimes he would be like, you need to grow up, you are still a child. And I tell him, like, I want to be a child, because then I have to be mature enough to handle my emotions, to keep it within myself. And I said, you are meant to go person. After marrying you, if there's any problem, you are my first person I would go to, right? If I have to go to my parents, then maybe divorce is the next step. So that has really helped him, because now he feels like, oh, I'm the one who she leans on, I'm the one who she really looking forward to. So that emotional attachment really helps to deal with any kind of disappointment, frustration. So that's something that has helped me.
Definitely. I think we have to accept that life is full of disappointments. Life is generally just full of disappointments, okay, whether it comes from our husbands or not, heartbreaks, anger issues, and it's inevitable that will happen in a marriage, especially you spend so much time together. But I like the fact that you said that we have to share, and sometimes we cannot behave the way we behave when we were our parents' daughter. It's not the same. We cannot expect, we have to understand, okay, I'm married now, okay, I cannot just call my dad and say that my husband bullied me. It doesn't make sense. I have
Yeah.
children, so I cannot be like this. So but it grows you up as well, and I really resonate with that, because I think sometimes I behave like a child, and my husband has got to look at me and I feel like, okay, that was wrongly behaved. And just I think about sharing is important, because your husband will also learn. I'm not saying he's perfect in the beginning, right? Our husband's gonna like be there for us. I think they will learn that, okay, I realize what triggered my wife and how to handle her when she's angry, and then that it will get better from there. It's all a learning process when it comes to marriage anyway. So, how about you, Mulika? How do you handle emotions or being badly affected by something, and you have to live with them still?
It's a very interesting question. Okay, so how I handle the emotions of disappointment, frustration, and also at the same time, also self-worthiness as well. What I did is I actually healed from the within. Instead of I ask my husband to be responsible for my feelings, I actually go inwards. I am responsible for these feelings, and the triggers is actually based on my past memories. Maybe accidentally he said certain things, and I will imagine that, oh, I assume and imagine that he said something that is based on triggers that can help me to, I mean, can make me frustrated or disappointment. So my way of dealing with these emotions is actually by go within. And what is the root cause? I ask myself, what is the root cause of these deep emotions, and why is it happening again and again in a different way? So then, from then on, I will go within me. What is the memories from 0 years old to 7 years old that I kept, that it actually triggers me a lot in my adult life. So not only my husband, someone else will have that trigger too. So then from then on, I work on my inner work and my inner child wounds. And then from then, I start to accept myself, and then also love myself and for who I am, uh, even though sometimes I feel that I get very so low self-esteem, right? But that is not true, because that is how I was brought up with my parents in that kind of environment. So certain words that triggers me, it will really make me frustrated and disappointed. So that memory from my parents, that what was happening during my childhood, I will delete and release the emotions and allow myself to feel fully. And then after I have a release fully, right, then I speak to my husband, actually just now what happened. And that kind of memory actually pop up, and that feeling again pop up as well. So that makes me the trigger. So by communicating what was going on in my mind, what was going on in my body, then my husband understands that, oh, I'm actually the trigger of my wife emotions. So then in future, he will not use that kind of sentence or words that will trigger their emotions. So by doing this, and I communicate, if this is the next time you say this, I'm get triggered, please remind me, I will do more inner work so that I can fully heal. So then the next time you say the same words, I will not get triggered. So always look for the core emotions that is got me triggered, and then from then on, release and heal and accept from the body level, mind level, and also at the same time is a spiritual level. So that's how I deal my deep core emotion of frustration and also disappointment.
Thank you so much. I like it, Ulika, because before we start putting the blame on anyone else, it's always start with asking ourselves, wait a minute, why am I this angry? What really just happened? And I really believe that a lot of how we think right now, a lot of our character, a lot of our self-esteem comes from traumatic experiences we experienced as a child, or maybe a past bad relationship, maybe a past working situation. So a lot of things that we go through every day, we not only recover, but we carry it with us. And sometimes accidentally we take it to our next relationship or our marriage, and in the end maybe the fault is only 10% your husband for triggering
Yeah,
you, but 90% is you are the one who has
correct.
not completely overcome this traumatic experience. And if you want to get a hold of life, it is your responsibility, after you identify the problem, is to get help so you can solve, and it will make your marriage also better. So thank you for letting us know that we are also not perfect, which is true. So rather than just always blaming our husband for causing us emotion triggers, we should look inside ourselves, because we must be at fault as well. It's 50-50 at least. So we definitely need to think about deeper. So thank you so much for sharing that. Wonderland, how about you? When you have emotions of being upset, do you walk away, isolate yourself? How do you handle it? Especially if you still have to look at your husband the rest of the day.
Before, I cannot sleep when I'm upset. That's my biggest problem. And I realize, I cannot sleep, but he's snoring already. So that even makes me more upset. And I realized one time I remember I slapped him while he was sleeping. He's like, why did you slap me? It's like, because I cannot sleep. I'm upset. He's like, oh, really? I don't know. So, see, Monica is correct. I mean, men cannot read their emotions. And also, Talika is correct. If you work on yourself, then you can actually, that's the best way for you to handle any situation. For me, when I started to own my emotions, I stopped blaming him for my emotions. I always ask myself, what is this emotion telling me to do? Then I do something about it. I mean, I stopped blaming him for all my circumstances. I started asking myself more. Then I get more answers from myself, not from him. And one time I remember I was very upset with him. I told him, buy me this book. The book is called Why Men Don't Listen and Why Women Cannot Read Maps. And it helped me understand the difference, big difference that we both have. And while reading the book, I was really laughing of, how he handled problems, how I handle mine. And it really, I will say that book is a good investment. I was telling him it saved my relationship with him, because all my worries, were all resolved by the book, because it helped me understand why am I like that and why is he like that. And when I started to understand, respect, and honor that, then it went smooth. I mean, really, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. So that's for me.
Thank you so much, Wendelin. Thank you so much. For those of you who have questions, leave us in the comment section. We'll see whether we got some responses. Wendelin, I understand if you have to leave, no worries. Actually, we have only one last question. How about we
Okay.
start with you this time so that we can
Okay.
close the talk? Basically, after all the discussion and sharing of experiences, strength, and weakness, we just want a final advice. A yes or a no. That's what we want to know. Do you recommend, or what's your advice on those who are planning to work with their spouses? Advice.
I'll say a big yes, 100% yes. Your partners will be your greatest critic, but they will be your greatest supporter also. So, and you see, marriage is more than a marriage. If you expand it to your business, it can magnify and produce results that will also be surprised. So it's 100% yes.
100% yes. Okay, Tulika, what about you? Your final advice, a yay or a nay?
Of course, a yay. When you yourself are working, you cannot say no. But jokes apart, I would definitely say yes with little planning and assigning roles to each other. Definitely working with spouses is way better than working other colleagues because you have a different level of understanding and chemistry that you may not have with other coworkers. So it's a yes from me.
Thank you so much. And lastly, from you, Mulika, final advice.
It will be yes for me if you do your inner work first, because there will be a lot of triggers going on to happen, because when your husband is your partner as a working partner, right, you you may not be able to separate between emotional and professional. So as long as you are emotionally stable, emotionally strong, and there's no triggers that going to allow you to be upset or disappointed or or angry, then yes, please go ahead. But if not, better do your inner work first.
Yeah, definitely. So the advice we got from expert is you don't just plunge into it. Okay, it's not something that you just have a glass of wine and said, okay, let's work together. Okay, you just probably should have a conscious thought about it. Maybe the process, measuring the strength, analysis, but also enter with an open mind, right? Because you still might come to a friction in the beginning, and that's for you to rediscover whether how can you now blend properly. But I believe that if people can overcome all the differences, the obstacles, and tap on each other experience, expertise, and strength, you can really build amazing businesses like family businesses that we know of. Family businesses are always very big and very rich, very wealthy because they work with family. That's why they call family businesses. And it get passed down not just on spouse level, but also to generations of children and also relatives. So if that can happen, that means they worked out how they are to do it properly. And I think all of us can start doing as well. And it's amazing, right? When 10 years down the line or 20 years and your children look at you as husband and wife, also like business partners, and hey, my parents built something together. And that means your partnership is going to last them their lifetime. So I want to say thank you so much for your time, all your advice and experiences, for opening up to us. This is a sensitive topic, but I hope it shed some light on those who are thinking whether how to effectively work with your partner. And for those of you, please attend their upcoming webinars on spellersacademy.com. It's free. Get connected and especially get to know them as well. Feel free to ask them questions. So we say goodbye for now. Thank you, Tulika and Mulika. Have a nice day. Bye,
You
everyone.
You
too.
too.
Bye.
Bye bye.